President Biden signing one of the most sweeping executive orders ever, more than 100 pages long, issuing the first government regulations for AI. Oh, dear. But apparently, he didn't do it alone. Biden reportedly getting a big assist from his former boss, President Obama, who visited the White House to help Biden and his staff on the AI initiative. And it doesn't end there. Obama now taping robocalls for the Democrats in key Virginia legislative races, raising questions about how involved he is in national affairs. Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo joins us now. So, Raymond, I was under the impression that AI was under Kamala's portfolio, which didn't give me a lot of confidence. But now we hear it's really Obama.
Well, Rachel, remember in the old James Bond series, there was Spectre, which was this shadowy organization with its tentacles into everything. That's Barack Obama when it comes to the Biden White House. Here's why.
Does that make Joe Biden James Bond?
Well, not quite. More like a very aged variety. Here's the Inspector Clouseau. Here's the reality. You have someone who, for 5 months, Barack Obama, has been the consultant on AI. Not only consultant, he's been interfacing with the tech companies and the White House. Let's face it, he wrote this executive order that Biden sent out to the world. And then he put words in Kamala Harris's mouth because it is Obama who's obsessed with this idea of, and I'm going to quote it, algorithmic discrimination and bias in AI, meaning diversity and equity in AI. He wants to import those values to control the growth of AI and to have the government keep its paw on top of the innovation that's possible in AI. Now, look, there are real dangers here.
That doesn't surprise me at all, actually, that Obama would want to use AI for his own political power and the power of his movement.
Yes, and he claims it's information. He wants to control the disinformation. Where have we heard this before, Rachel? We had tech companies controlling information throughout COVID. They were, by and large, wrong. They were controlling things that were accurate. I'm very concerned that the government has gone too far, and this 111-page executive order goes too far, allowing the government to tamp down on innovation and stop the freedom of these tech companies to develop good, wholesome, positive technologies. Look, national security should be protected.
I don't think there's anything wholesome about AI. I'm really actually concerned. I was already concerned about AI. Now I'm worried that Obama's in charge of AI.
Right.
It's all gotten worse. So let's just talk about this as well, because it's not just AI. I mean, we know he's in Colorado. He's in D.C.
Yes.
The only president who was not disabled, who didn't leave
town.
He didn't leave town. He and Valerie Jarrett are there, and they're running things as well as elections in Virginia.
All of his acolytes are in key power positions in the Biden administration. From John Kerry, his former Secretary of State, you got Blinken, who was Kerry's #2. And if you don't think this policy that we're seeing in the Middle East, this mincing back and forth, weak diplomacy, inviting terrorism, inviting our enemies to attack, that's classic Obama policy. And now we have another example of it. I didn't realize Obama's now doing these robocalls in Virginia. Guess why? His former Attorney General Eric Holder runs something called the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Isn't that interesting? Again, the Obama pause in the future of the party, the foreign policy of the party, AI in the party, information flow in the party, and domestic policy. The guy is running this White House. And as example of that, we know from White House staffers this week that Biden's approach to AI was shaped by watching Mission Impossible. So maybe Obama is a step up, given that Tom Cruise was the last briefing on AI that Biden got.
Yeah, no, this is scary. Eric Holder, Valerie Jarrett, Obama, all still running things. This is the third term.
Unelected.
On a much lighter note, I want to mention this. Raymond is #2 on the holiday charts right now, so we can all get happy about that. It's called Merry and Bright. It's your Christmas album. You have a special coming out for it as well.
And I'm going on tour. Go to RaymondArroyoChristmas.com. I'm going to Phoenix and Cleveland and Tampa, House of Blues in Dallas, and the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, traveling with Jose Feliciano and the band. It's going to be incredible. I hope you're coming.
Well, I already got tickets for you told me you were going to get
you're going to Phoenix. Good.
Okay. And if I can make it, I'm going to go too.
Yes, you've got to come up.
I'm going to come out.
We'll do a duet.
All right. Oh, God.
It's a deal.
I don't want to ruin the show.
Oh, you'll have fun.
Thanks, Raymond. All right, coming up.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.